Hi, in this video we'll talk about HTML elements, tags, and attributes. Let's have a look. Imagine that I have a book here. This is my front cover of the book, and this is my back cover of the book. Now, when I open a book, I can see a page inside. So here I'll write page. After that, I'll put some content. For now, those are just 4 spaces. And then I will close the page, just like I did with the book. So to close the page, I write angle bracket, /, and now I need to specify what I'm closing. I opened the page, so I want to close the page. Okay, let's have a look at the syntax. Here I have the start of my page, and here I have the end of my page. This is called an opening tag, and this is called the closing tag. So an opening tag consists of the name of the tag, which is surrounded by angle brackets. And the closing tag is written in a very similar fashion. It just has a / before the name of the tag. Now, here I might have some content of the page. So here I'll just write page 1 content. Okay, now what we have is 2 tags, an opening one and a closing one, as well as some content. And this altogether is called an HTML element. Now, elements might contain certain properties, and those properties are written in an opening tag. So here, after the name of the tag, I can write the name of the property and give it a value. So here, let's say I want it to be page number 1. So I can give it a property number and assign it a value of 1. I can also give it color and assign a value of yellow. Okay, now you can see that it becomes a little bit difficult to read. So let's format it and make it easier to understand. So here, after an opening tag, I'll press enter, and after the closing one as well. Now, to visually tell that this content is located inside of the page 1, I will put 2 spaces here. So now we can see that we have a book. Now, inside of the book, we have a page, and we can tell that this is inside of the book because it is written before the closing tag, and also visually because it has 2 spaces relative to the book tag. Okay, and then inside of the page, we have content. We can also tell that this is inside of our page because it is located before the closing tag, and also visually it has 2 spaces. Okay, let's create a few more pages. All right, now we need to give this page number 2, this page number 3, and this page will be number 4. Okay, now let's change the content. Here it's 2, here it's 3, and here it is 4. Okay, now let's wrap our numbers in double quotes. All right. And to have more visual distinction between pages, we can also put an empty line between each page. We can put an empty line here, here, and here. Okay, so now using tags, attributes, and some content, we have described a book. In a similar way, web pages are described. But instead of a book, you would write HTML here, and you would also want to write the same on the closing tag, HTML. Now, before the HTML tag, we have to let our computer know what language this file is written in. So before HTML tag, we need to write !doc_type. And here we need to specify the HTML version. If you want to use the latest one, just write HTML. All right. Now in HTML tag has 2 tags inside. First one is head. We need to open it and close it. Okay, so inside of the head tag, you want to put any meta information about the page. And for all the content of the page, meaning all the things that the user can visually see on the page, we use the body tag. Write body, and we have to close it. All right, now we can move these pages inside of the body. Okay, let's make some space here. And because we're putting the content inside of the body, we need to visually distinguish it. So we put 2 spaces, and we paste our content. Now let's format it. Here I select this. And I also need to format this line. Okay, now we can see that we have HTML, inside of which we have head. And the second element inside of HTML, we have body. And inside body, we have pages, which in turn contain some content inside of them. I'm currently writing in an XML file, and it is very similar to HTML. But the only difference is that in HTML, we don't have the page tag. We have other tags, which we'll learn about in the next videos. And lastly, I want to mention one important thing. Here we can see that our last page is contained within the body, because the closing tag appears before the body's closing tag. One thing to memorize is that elements have to be fully contained within other elements, meaning that if we decide to just cut it, and here we open tag inside of the body element, but we want to close it outside of the body element, this will not work and will be considered as an error. So just remember, if you have an element inside of another element, the child element has to be opened and closed within the same element. Okay, so let's copy this back and paste it here. Okay, in the future videos, we'll talk more about HTML and start learning the basic rules.